Welcome to Roger Frederick's Golf Flexibility, a revolutionary new exercise program developed by renowned golf coach Roger Fredericks. Follow this program and within days you'll notice dramatic improvements and start hitting shots with greater consistency and power. Roger Fredericks has worked with thousands of golfers, from beginners to some of the greatest names in the sport. After closely studying the swing mechanics of some of golf's greatest players, Roger discovered a fundamental secret they all share, and that is an enormous amount of flexibility in the key muscle groups that affect their swings. In fact, tour professionals on average have 50 to 100% more flexibility in their upper trunks and nearly 67% faster hip speed through the ball than the average golfer. In this program, we'll show you how to dramatically increase your flexibility and range of motion. Soon, you'll be able to hit the ball longer, straighter, with more power and consistency, while also helping avoid injury and aiding recovery from previous injuries.
Roger's stretching program helped me immensely, and it'll help you too.
I've regained much of the flexibility that I've had in my youth.
Roger Fredericks is a wonderful golf teacher and has an innate ability to combine conditioning, strength, and cardiovascular and how it relates to golf.
I was able to loosen up my hips, which basically dissolved all the back pain.
Roger taught me that just because you get older doesn't mean you have to lose your flexibility.
Using Roger's flexibility program has helped me become one of the longest hitters in the world.
The best lesson I ever had is Roger's flexibility program.
I've been able to hit the ball 15 yards further, I can move freely, I've avoided injury, and the most exciting thing about it is I've only scratched the surface.
But people put more money into their cars, their automobiles, than they do into their bodies. Take a tip from Roger. Listen to him. Here's an expert on improving your game quickly.
Work steadily at your own pace through the program, and you'll be hitting the ball with more power than you ever dreamed possible.
I'd like to take a moment and explain exactly how the muscles work in your body. Well, number one, we have hundreds of muscles throughout our body, and each muscle has an opposite muscle that it works with. For example, in our upper arm, we have the biceps and the triceps. When the biceps contract or get closer together, the triceps lengthen or expand, and vice versa. Well, down here in our body, we have the front calves, the quadriceps, the hip flexors, the abdominals, and the upper chest. They work closely with the back of the calves, the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back muscles, and the upper back. Well, in the golf swing, the upper body weight starts to rotate and shift over to the right side. Right about here, that's when the hip engages. These quadricep muscles really start to take a beating because there's a lot of force being placed upon them. Well, while this is happening, the hamstrings and glutes are forced to relax and expand. The hip flexor now is kind of maintaining and stabilizing this entire process. It takes a moment to unwind, and now the reverse process happens on the front side. Now, if we find a person, for example, who has weak quadriceps or tight hamstrings, we will usually see one of three things. We'll see something like this, a straightening of the leg. Sometimes with people who are overly tight or strong, built up in their quadriceps, we'll see something like this. Or we'll see people who don't have very much rotation do something like this. That is why keeping your body functional will absolutely guarantee that you'll have a more solid golf swing. Hi, I'm Roger Fredericks, and I want you to know that flexibility is golf's most important fundamental. By following the flexibility program on this tape, you'll be amazed at how much freer and more powerful your golf swing will become. I want you to think of me not only as your golf instructor, but as your golf coach. That's right, coach, because golf is an athletic sport which demands strength and flexibility in the key muscle groups. Let's get started by introducing our workout partners. Susan Pankow comes to us from San Diego, and she uses the program every day to keep her game in top form. Tommy Kim, a two-time Hawaiian State long drive champion, was a 7 handicap when he started using the program, and within 6 months he qualified for the Sony Hawaiian Open and has since turned professional. And finally, my good friend Tommy Jacobs, whose brilliant professional career has spanned 5 decades. Tommy uses the flexibility program as his own personal fountain of youth. You'll see it in his swing. As your coach, I need you to make this program a regular part of your daily workout. A minimum of 4 or 5 days a week will produce dramatic results in how you feel and how you swing. Remember, the most important club in the bag is you. Now, let's get started. Before we get into our main program, how about a few simple instructions? Number one, we're going to isolate each individual muscle group of our bodies, exhaling out through our mouth as we work the stretch, inhaling through our nose as we release. We're going to work one muscle group at a time and start with the lower body. We're going to come down and start loosening up our lower back with the single leg pelvic tilt. Starting with our left, we will take our knee and bring it towards our left shoulder, exhaling out and release all the way down. If you have tightness in your back, go ahead and keep the right leg bent. Or if you're not, just go ahead and keep the right leg straight, working the left knee. Number of ways you can hold this. You can put your hands above the knee, under the knee, or for a more advanced stretch, we can take our left hand and bring the left foot down there. This really loosens up the lower back, which is paramount for a good golf swing. A good loose lower back will help you bend over from the hips more, and you'll be able to retain that angle a lot better throughout the swing. Now we'll start with the right leg. Bring the right knee up, right knee towards the right shoulder, and release. Or maybe grab above, exhaling, and release. One more time. And now that I've warmed up a little bit, I'll grab down on my foot, see if I can't give a more intense stretch there. And last one, number 5. Okay, now we'll do both at the same time with a double leg pelvic tilt, grabbing both feet or knees. And you can feel that nice stretch there as the lower back contracts with the hip flexors. This is great for golf because of the lower back. When it's nice and loose, we're able to bend from our hips a lot better during the stance and maintain that angle throughout the swing. One last one. And 5. Now that our lower back is all loosened up, let's go to a more intense stretch and start working the lower hamstring. We're going to grab our rope, put the rope on the ball of the left foot, lie down, make sure the ends are pretty much neutral here. Now you notice I'm wearing a tennis shoe, Tom McKay is wearing barefoot, perfectly okay. So first we want to lock our leg, climb up the rope and see how far you can go without bending that knee. Now once you come to your limit, just back off a little bit and stabilize the knee with your left hand. Let the leg come down and keep the angle of the thigh and just pump it up, exhaling out. And release. You'll feel a nice little stretch there right behind the knee and above it. This is the lower hamstring. Lower hamstring is crucial in the golf swing because it keeps the knee flexed throughout the motion. And release. You'll notice you can go a little bit further as you start getting more repetitions in there. Number 5. And release. Now we'll release the leg completely to the floor. Now we're going to do the straight leg hamstring. So lock the kneecap and let the quadricep do the work. Notice I'm not pulling up on the rope. Climb up on the rope and release all the way down. Again, if you have some back tightness, go ahead and bend the right knee. Let's go up number 2 and release. You'll feel that not only behind the knee, but all the way up the hamstring. Let's come up again and climb it and release. This stretch is crucial again because it stabilizes not only the knee, but keeps the pelvis in a good pelvic tilt throughout the swing. And number 5. In this series today, we're doing 5 repetitions of each. However, if you find yourself that very tight in certain areas of your body, then go ahead and increase the repetitions. Now we're going to take the rope and switch over to the right foot, and we'll loop the rope right around the ball of the foot and lower that leg. And again, we're going to start with the bent knee hamstring, so raise the right leg up. Find your limit. Race the knee there and let the right shin come down. Exhale up and out and release. Some of you, in fact, most of you will find that your right sides for right-handers are much tighter than the left. This is very common. In the golf swing, you want to make sure you actually do more repetitions on the right side if your right side is tighter. And lastly, number 5. And release. Now the leg goes all the way down. We'll begin with the straight leg hamstring and work the entire belly of the hamstring and the leg. Let the quadricep do the work. Don't lift the leg. and release all the way down. Up again, exhaling out, and release. Up, and release. Up, and release. You notice everybody's going a little bit further as they continue on with the repetitions. Now we've worked the hamstrings, let's go down and work the inner thigh, the adductor group. So we're going to take the rope, wrap it around the ball of the foot, and match up those ends. Now we're going to take the rope and swing it to the inside of the foot. Then bring the rope around and hold it in your right hand. Now we're going to pigeon toe both feet and swing the leg all the way out to the left. And you feel a great stretch there, right in the inner thigh there. These muscles are crucial for stabilizing and letting the pelvis move freely through the golf swing. Also, you'll notice that in the golf swing, for a right-hander, when the left leg is starting the downswing, it will tend to pull away and increase the distance from the right. These adductor muscles here really encourage and help that powerful motion happen. Okay, and number 5, exhaling out and release. Now we're going to switch the rope. Wrap it around the right foot. Always the rule of thumb is whatever direction you're swinging the leg, in this case, that way, always start the rope on the opposite side of the leg. Now we'll take the rope around, hold this in our left hand, pigeon toe both feet, and let the right leg swing out. Most people, right-handers of course, can't swing the leg out as far on the right side. So you might want to do a few more reps in that case. If you don't load the right side in the golf swing, you're certainly not going to unload. And we'll see this with our man Tommy Kim as he explodes through the ball with that explosive hip speed. This stretch encourages that. Okay, now we're going to take the rope and work the opposite muscle group, the abductors. We'll take the rope, put it around the foot, match up the ends. Now we're going to swing the rope, we'll swing the leg this way. We'll take the rope around to the outside and bring the rope down here. Now we'll turn both feet to the left. Again, holding the rope in our left hand, let the leg swing over, keep this leg stabilized, and with your right hand you can gauge the resistance as far as you want. You will really feel that pulling on your outer hip or your outer thigh. Okay, one more time, and release. Now we'll take the rope, swing the right side, wrap the rope around the ball of foot, match up the ends, and we'll take the rope, swing it to the outside of the leg, turn both feet over to the right, lock the knees, and allow the right leg to swing across the midline. Try not to go too high. If you go too high, you'll activate the psoas muscle. We want to keep this in the inner thighs there. Keeping these muscles real flexible will almost guarantee you of never having to have a hip replacement. And last one, exhale out, give it a tug, and release, inhaling. Let's get working on the quadriceps. So pick up your left foot. It's always good to find some kind of an object, a counter, dress table, or whatever, to lean onto for support if you need it. Now, standing upright, take your left foot and bring it up towards your right butt. Don't try to lean forward too much and then relieve. So come on up, release the stretch, and release. The quadriceps in the golf swing obviously play a tremendous role in that they support and provide stability for the hips. Now we'll switch to the other side. Brace yourself. We're standing on our left foot. Take your right foot, bring it up towards your heel, and release. Stretch it out again. It's a great pull here. We use these quads in almost everything we do in our culture, so we got to make sure they don't get too overworked and get some oxygen and blood down into them. And one more time. We're going to start with our right foot back. Take the left foot and bring it up towards an object. Now, Make sure that your left foot, knee, and hip are in a straight line, and gently press forward. Don't lean forward this way, almost like you're pushing your glute down into the ground, and exhale. This is a fantastic stretch for the hip flexor here. Without properly functioning hips in the golf swing, good golf is almost impossible. So we'll come on down again, and you can get deeper and deeper as you match your breathing pattern in with the motion of the stretch. And last one, exhale out, pressing down, and inhale, come up. Now we'll switch and do the other side. Left foot back, put the right foot up on the object, and simply start to press down, exhaling. Inhale up, exhale as you work the stretch, and come on back up. You guys feeling that? Benefit here is, again, stretching out the hips so the pelvis can not only have stability, but create power in the golf swing. Exhale out, inhale up, and the last one. Now it's time to work on to our gluteus muscles, and I can't tell you how important these muscles are in your golf swing. First, we're going to lie down, take your left knee, and swing it across over to your right shoulder. Simply put your left hand on the outside of the thigh, bring the knee up, and then grab down here around your ankle and swing that calf over, exhaling. And then release all the way down. One more time, exhale. The benefit to the golf swing here is important because it stabilizes the pelvis. Most people who have forward tilts of their pelvis, you know right off the bat that their glutes aren't firing. Again, people who have too much quadricep strength will usually almost never have enough glute strength. Okay, now we're going to move to the right side. Take your right knee, swing that over towards your left shoulder, grab down around the ankle, and stretch that. You should feel that right down there. It's a fantastic stretcher. Give yourself some support here in resistance. Again, if your right glute isn't firing in your backswing, you tend to have a little lift with most people. In other words, when the load bear pressure comes into the right hip, the body will tend to rise up a little bit and you'll come out of your posture. The more you come out of your posture, the more you're leaking energy in your golf swing. We want to keep that energy. Last one, bring the right knee over towards the left shoulder, give it a good stretch, and release. Now it's time for the gastrocnemius stretch. What is a gastroc, you say? Okay, the gastrocnemius is this powerful muscle in our calf here. We're going to double end the rope. We're going to wrap the rope around the foot, stand upright here, and pull the foot back to you, exhaling, and release all the way. This is a tremendous benefit. It doesn't look like much in your golf swing, but if you have tight calves, it's going to send signals up your muscle chain here, up through the hamstrings and hips, and it's going to be very difficult for your hip to maintain a pelvic tilt there in the front. And release. Now, after a couple, I want you to flatten that back knee, and I want you to bend over. Now pull that foot back, and you will really feel that on the bottom of your knee. You feeling that, gang? Most people let out a gasp at this point. Okay, now we'll take the rope, double loop it around the right side, and again, pull that foot back to you in dorsiflexion as far as you can, and release all the way. Bring it back. The benefit here, again, we want to load that right hip. Okay, we've got to stretch that out and give freedom there to the back of the pelvis. One more time, and then release. We are now ready to do some spinal twists, and everybody wants to do spinal twists because of a better golf turn. Now, we're going to start off by moving off to the end of the chair here. We're going to tighten our abdominals, tuck our chin down into our sternum, keep the feet nice and wide, and just bend over and grab those legs and exhale down. What we're doing here is muscle by muscle, we're loosening up every single muscle of the spine there. We're going to come down again and release. What this does in the golf swing is we're starting to loosen up that spine to prepare it for some of the big torquing and twisting that we're about to do. It seems like everybody in golf always tries to make a big shoulder turn, but the reality is, in my opinion, that very few people can actually make a 90-degree shoulder turn. This is how we get that turn back. Okay, that was fine. That stretched those vertebrae pretty good. Now we're going to sit all the way back in the chair and make sure you get yourself upright. Now, with your right hand, put it over the arm of the left chair, and with your left hand, just grab onto anything you can. Again, don't slouch. Make yourself erect, and using the resistance of the chair, twist around to the left, looking as far behind you as you can, and release. Come on back, get upright, and release going back here. Now we're working on the through part of the shoulder turn on the forward swing for a right-hander. Come back again. Always follow your eyes. Your eyes will take your body to farther limits. Okay, so with your eyes, look as far behind you to the left as you can, and then release. One more time. Oh yeah, and that's really working our abdominals here, our obliques, really preparing that lower trunk to make a full powered shoulder turn. Now, we're going to do our shoulder turn side for a right-hander. Stay nice and erect. Left hand goes over on the arm of the chair. Right hand goes behind you, grab onto something. Get erect. Keep those feet solid. I want resistance. I don't want your knees and hips to swing in there. Get nice and erect and rotate. And you'll probably notice for a right-hander, it's a little bit harder to do it on this side. This side with most people, as I've mentioned several times, the right side for right-handers will get stronger and tighter than the left side. This is how we start making a good shoulder turn, and that's what provides power. It's how much mass, how much body mass is going to come into that ball. Okay, that was 5. Now we're going to sit back towards the end of the chair and work on our thoracic lumbar rotators. These are the muscles on the top of our spine here going down. These muscles here actually turn more in the golf swing than our lower spinal muscles. So we're going to get on the edge, get yourself nice and erect, clasp your hands behind your head, and flare your elbows out. Now get ready, get nice and erect, and rotate first. Now the shoulder will go down towards the floor. Go easy, and then release, inhaling all the way up. Upright, rotate, and release. Now we're working again the upper spine. Okay, a lot of people have hunched shoulders. This will help get some strength and power into that and allow more freedom of rotation, not to mention the great oblique exercise we're doing. One more time, you notice as we're going down, we're actually doing a sit-up here, an oblique sit-up, only we're not using gravity with it. Now we get upright, rotate, and down with the left shoulder, and release. This is a great stretcher. Not only does it open up the spine, we get plenty of oxygen and blood up into our brain there. And inhale up. Spinal turns, shoulder turns. Got to have it. And release all the way up. One more time, upright, rotate, and release. And again, last time, upright, rotate, and down. We want to stretch out the pecs too, and that involves our spinal rotators. So we're going to stand up, go into extension, nice and erect, clasp our hands again, put them behind your head, and flare those elbows out, and now just reach back and release. Got to go into extension. This stretch here too will help maintain a better stance and posture through the shot. We want to stretch out those muscles there. This is extremely good for weightlifters, bodybuilders who get too overbuilt in their pecs there and literally cannot swing a golf club effectively if they get too bulky and tight there. Okay, now we'll get upright, and we're going to reverse and go back into posterior obliques. We'll clasp our hands, hands behind our head, flare our shoulders out, rotate first, and go back and down to the left. It's almost like in theory that you're trying to get your left elbow touching the ground behind you. Go down, exhaling, and inhale all the way up. Okay, rotate, exhale, and down. Make sure you're almost doing a back bend in a sense here. And you'll also feel that stretching your obliques here on your right side when we're turning left. Go back down and up. Okay, right side, shoulder turn side, upright, elbows back, rotate, and down. And release. Upright, rotate, down. Upright, rotate, down and back. Great stretcher. Most people just do not have enough extension in their bodies to have the freedom that we strive for in the golf swing. Let's get into our 4-socket position here, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and we're simply going to look up at the ceiling, inhaling, This is the happy dog. And then arch yourself way up, exhaling like the scared cat. Really stretch out that thoracic. We're going to come up, inhaling, and exhale down. The first couple, I suggest you go pretty slow. But then after you get into the groove of it, then you can speed it up a little bit. Really stretch it out. We have now loosened up our lower body, our spinal part of our body. Now it's time for our shoulders. First, let's relax the shoulders and get them ready for the stretches we're about to do. So first, we're going to do some circumduction. Just bend over, slight bend of the knees, and just hang. Let your head hang down there. And I want you to be real soft right up here in your shoulder muscles, your supraspinatus, and just make little circles. Real soft. I want to get some oxygen and blood up in there. Then the circles can get a little bit bigger and bigger. Okay, now let's stop and reverse and start from outside to in and make the circles gently getting smaller. Keep breathing. Now with a big inhale, everybody, right now let's inhale all the way up to a standing position. Let's focus now on our shoulders and our chest. Okay, we're going to come down here and get into the don't shoot sheriff position and let ourselves fold forward onto the chairs, exhaling down and inhaling all the way up. Now you notice that TJ and Susan behind me are doing a slightly different version. This is perfectly acceptable. Okay, that way is a little bit easier and doesn't quite have the resistance that Tommy and I are using. But this way down here I can really gauge how far down and how much open I want to allow my shoulders to become and my chest. Come on up, exhale down, and inhale, release all the way up. Now that we've stretched out our pecs real good, it's time to work on our shoulder joints, specifically the anterior deltoid. That's the big muscle here in the front that controls our movements of the shoulder joints here. Two ways to do this exercise. One, you can do it like my friends are behind me and just extending those arms all the way back, or two, the way I'm about to show you. I'll put my hands back behind me and start to sink down, exhaling and inhaling all the way up. At home, you can use a bookcase, a kitchen countertop, or find something that's about shoulder height so you can get some resistance as you go down through the stretch. Exhaling, come all the way up. Keeping the shoulders functional in the golf swing is very, very important because the shoulders now are going to directly influence your arm and the positions of your arm swing as you swing through the shot. Now it's time for the internal and external rotator stretch of the shoulders, otherwise known as the rotator cuff. I want to put your hands out here, and we're going to simply keep our forearms parallel to the ground and swing the arms back, exhaling. And inhale. Don't help it with your body. Exhale, inhale. Again, benefits in the golf swing mean more freedom with the shoulders, which means more freedom with your arms. Exhale down, and inhale. One more time. Exhale all the way back, and inhale forward. Now, we're going to keep our shoulders and arms in this position, and now simply go under. Exhaling, and release all the way back. Down, and release. Can't tell you how much impinged shoulders will harness and affect the free-flowing movement of the golf swing. One more time, come back, and lastly, exhale, and inhale all the way up. Horizontal flexion. We're going to start with our left arm, swing it across our body, and with our right arm, make a bar and press that arm to you, and release. Notice that my belt buckle is actually going in a counter direction. That gives me some great resistance up here and back of the shoulder. Again, and release. One more time, and release. And the last time, exhale, and release. Now we're going to work our right arm. Right arm comes out, comes across our body at a slight angle down. With the left hand, put it up against our right upper arm and bring this over and twist. Benefit in the golf swing is freedom of the arms. When we're tight up here in our shoulders and